Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rejuvenated Women, Impeccable Health for High Performing Women. This is episode 40, and I thought it would be timely as we're coming off the Thanksgiving holiday weekend to talk about detox and both the right way to detox and what most of us do, the wrong way to detox. And to jump into this conversation, I want to share a story from 12 years ago. It was actually very timely this morning. This memory popped up in my newsfeed on Facebook, and I was already planning to tell this story today. So later on, I will be sharing that photo that popped up with it. But 12 years ago, I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, going to chiropractic school, and I decided to spend the Thanksgiving holiday with my roommate, who was from Georgia. She was a Southern gal through and through, super sweet, just love her to death. And so she invited me home for Thanksgiving with her family. And she warned me before she went. She knew that I was a bit of a food Nazi already. I was, dairy and gluten free and didn't eat a lot of sugar and was pretty particular about what I put in my body at that point. So she warned me, like, this is not necessarily going to be food that you want to eat. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be rude. You're bringing me home. Like, I want to, eat the food and not have your family feel like I'm this super weirdo. So I was like, how about we just make a plan so that we can recover as quickly as possible. So we decided on our drive, we had about a 2-hour drive to our family's home, that we were going to, have Thanksgiving. We weren't going to just one, but two Southern Thanksgiving. I'm talking like all the stuff made as unhealthy as possible, right? And I had never really had a Thanksgiving like this. So we were like, okay, we just finished running a half marathon. We wanted to start, training for a marathon. So we were like, we'll start training the day after. And we're going to do a juice cleanse on top of that. So this was our plan, right? So we go, we eat all the stuff. I gorge myself. I feel like absolutely death by the time we get home to her parents' house. And, we go to sleep. I end up spending most of the night in the bathroom, like curled around the porcelain, just not sure which end something's going to come out of, feeling awful. I finally get to sleep. We get up in the morning and we committed to going for this 10-mile run. And if it had just been me, I would not have actually done it. Marge completely pulled me through this. This was my friend Marjorie, is who I was with. And so, I had this splitting headache. I was dehydrated. I didn't feel well. I think I had to stop and go to the bathroom at some point on this run, but we got through it. We got in the car, packed up, and headed back to Atlanta. And on the way, we stopped at a Whole Foods and picked up our Arden's Garden juice cleanse. And, this was our plan. Like, we were going to detoxify our body from all the garbage that we put into it in the last 24 hours. And about a day and a half into this process, it was a three-day cleanse, I started shaking uncontrollably, and my body just felt like it was shutting down. And I found myself in my kitchen shakily making a piece of gluten-free toast because I just I didn't think I could make it. Like, this is not how it was supposed to go. And so, listening to this story, you might be laughing and shaking your head. This is young, naive Dr. Alex at age, what was I, 24 and 23, I think. And there was a lot that I didn't understand and didn't know. And doing stuff like this is probably what led to a lot of the hormone balances I later on found myself having. And for many of you out there, you may have also tried things like this or gone down this road, or, in between whether it's in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or when the new year finally comes and you've been eating bad for the last 6 weeks and you're just like, I got to do something. We tend to jump into things all or nothing. And it can really wreak havoc on our bodies. So, I do an elimination and detox process with my clients. And one of the most common questions I get when we go through that is, well, what am I just not eating for this time? Or, is this like one of those cleanses I've done, one of those 10-day things? And like, no, not at all. To really, truly detox your body, there's a couple of things you really have to understand. And so the first is hormone related. We've talked a lot about on the show about different hormones, whether it's, I talk a lot about cortisol. We've talked about leptin at some points, which is your hormone that regulates metabolism, tells you when you're hungry and when you're full. Another really key one, and the one that's really important in this conversation when it comes to detox, is insulin. Insulin is made by your liver. Your liver is the primary detoxifier of your body. And 60% of our population in the United States, and I would say in Canada too, is insulin resistant. And so this is because we get so much sugar in our diet, whether you're trying to eat well or not, and our liver can't keep up. And so we have all this insulin that's not getting taken up into the cells and not helping with our blood sugar. And it's just floating around, and it causes us to start to have some problems. It can wreak havoc on our hormones, our sex hormones, can start messing with your progesterone and estrogen because it's impacting the production of LSH and FSH. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with insulin. And so when you're coming off of something like crazy Southern Thanksgiving, or whatever your Thanksgiving happened to be like, mine these days are not that by any means. It's possible to have Thanksgiving dinner and not feel sick afterwards. Most of the population overeats, does all the things, has all the sweets and the goodness and the all that stuff, but we end up not feeling well afterwards, right? You might be foggy brained, you might feel bloated and lethargic, and maybe you have a headache, maybe you started getting a cold. All of that stuff can happen when you look at detoxing. And so the drive is like, oh, let's go do a juice cleanse for 3 to 7 days, or let's just do a water fast for XYZ amount of time, or let's like stop eating anything except rabbit food. When you approach your body like that, you're taking it from one stressful event to another stressful event. So we're going from, inundating ourselves with sugar, with all this stuff that our liver has to keep up with and try to get rid of and detox. And most of us already have a sluggish liver, so it's just adding fuel to the fire. And, then we're stressing it out even more because we're either working out hard or stopping eating altogether, or doing like a juice cleanse is highly sugary, and so there's a process that we need to prepare our body for that. We also shouldn't be working out hard. Back when I did this experience, we just ran a half marathon, so running 10 miles wasn't necessarily a big deal, but it's still, to me, emotionally, physically, all of that, but it's actually still a big deal on the body. It increases our stress response. So I took my body through even more stress than if I had just kept eating my normal diet after eating all the crud that I chose to eat on that one day, versus, cutting everything out and introducing something that my body wasn't used to, which was a bunch of sugary juice, and trying not to eat on top of that. And, so I'm trying to detoxify while adding more sugar and crap to the body, causing more stress, which is just perpetuating the cycle. And this is what so many of us do. So the first thing I really, wanted to share around detoxing is we have to be aware of our liver function. And the number one way, I talk about this all the time, is, if you're not having at least two normal bowel movements a day, your liver function isn't as good as it should be in order for your body to really actually be able to detox. So if you want to take your body through a detox, I'm not saying go take a bunch of laxatives or, up the magnesium or any of those things. We need to start getting your body able to actually drain. It's called the drainage pathway. Your liver needs to be able to drain so everything above it can drain, which includes your lymph system and your brain and your organs and your cells. All of that stuff needs to be able to drain the crap out in order to get through a detox and to really truly detox. And we're talking on a cellular level here, right? There's the cleanses, which is, just about kind of making you feel better emotionally. And then there's truly actually detoxifying your body. And so that's actually what I'm talking about in this sense. And because it can be a stress on the body to detox, we need to create a less stressful environment for ourselves. So doing things like yoga. I did 4 days of yoga over Thanksgiving weekend. I feel amazing. It's fantastic. Creating, taking time for yourself to just breathe, not pushing yourself hard in the gym, not like trying to go burn off all the turkey that you just ate. That's going to have the opposite effect when it comes to your hormone balance. You might feel a little bit better in the moment because psychologically you think you're doing something to help yourself, but in the long term, you're going to be hurting yourself more, especially if I know most of the women who watch this show or listen to this show are dealing with hormone imbalances on a big level, like we all are on some level, and it usually starts with stress. And so when we're adding more stress to ourselves and trying to go through this detox process, we end up hurting ourselves more than we're helping ourselves. So we really want to be cognizant of how much stress we're putting on our body and the things that we are doing as we're attempting to go through a detox process. And so a detox process generally, yes, means taking some things out of your diet, but more importantly, it's about the things that we keep and eat more of. So, if you really want to cleanse your body, to get it feeling better, to, fuel it the way it needs, to give it the rest time that it needs to deal with the onslaught of whatever you did to it over, the holidays, you still need to eat because we need fuel. And so those are things like lots of vegetables and good fats, things like avocado and ghee and olives, nuts, nut butters. All of those are good fats. Superfoods, like things, chock full of superfoods, are like spirulina and chlorella. There's powders and there's things out there, but things that are really going to fuel your body well, acai, all of these things are great things. And having, you do need to, like, the primary thing I would say is come off of sugar. If you were just going to do one thing, get the sugar out of the diet. You can still eat fruit, but really, take the time to up the good things you're eating. You'll start to crave those more as you eat them. And when you do this in this gentle way where you're really being cognizant of, how you're treating your body physically, what your energy is like, all of that, you tend to have less reactions. You don't end up shaky. You don't end up feeling overly hungry. We're still eating, but we're still also creating that time and space for our body to rest and heal. So that wraps up, kind of sums up what I wanted to share about detox. So many women will jump into it in completely, like I did, in a reactionary manner where we're causing more harm than good and really hurting our body and our hormones in a big way. And so if you want to, you're serious about this, you need to do something after like you just feel crappy after our first round of holiday eating and all of that this past weekend. And you're not in the Facebook group already, the Tribe of Rejuvenated Women, jump in there, because next week I'm going to walk us through a in between the holidays little detox process. We're going to spend 5 days actually, walking through this process and setting you up to understand how to do it in a gentle, effective way that's actually going to help your body cleanse itself, improve your hormone function, and do all of those things. So if you're not already in the Facebook group, just can search for it. I'll put a link in the show notes too. But the Tribe of Rejuvenated Women, we're going to start this next Monday. I haven't even told the group this yet at the time I'm recording this, so it will be announced and we'll have all the plan. But really, this is your invitation to do something differently and approach this differently, and not do the crazy detox process like so many. It's more that cleanse, that like, oh, I gotta cleanse my body of all the and I've been there, right? I felt that. I've definitely put my body through that. But we have to recognize the amount of stress we've already put on it and then approach it in a much different and gentler way that will help us actually heal, and then maybe have a better plan for the Christmas holidays and going into the new year. So hopefully this helps you, served you. Again, jump in that Facebook group where we will be doing a live, me teaching, helping guide you through the process of how to actually do this in a gentle way that serves your body next week. And we will see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.